You're listening to Conversation Kingz with Dominic Emerson, only on LA Talk Radio.
Welcome to the Conversation Kingz. I'm your host, Dominic Emerson, here on LA Talk Radio. And as always, like, follow, subscribe on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook, where you can find all of the content that'll help you grow and help you mature and become a better person. Today, I want to give a special shout out to Hood Champs Clothing for their clothing line. And if you need that apparel or that merchandise, you can go pick that up at hoodchampsclothingcompany.us. Again, that's hoodchampsclothingcompany.us. Today, I want to just talk about and ask the question, who are you, right? Because everybody wants to find out who they are. And sometimes we don't know who we are until we go through an experience of life. So I just want to come on and talk about that. Who are you? So that way you can discover your true self, right? Because that's what life is all about, discovering our true selves and finding out who we are, what we like, what we dislike in life. That way we can continue to grow and continue to build and become better people than we are today, than we were yesterday, right? And getting to know ourselves might seem a little boring, right? Oftentimes we feel like we know ourselves. I know who I am. I know what I like and I know what I dislike. But that's not the reality. Sometimes it takes life in order for us to continue to grow, and steps to help us mature day by day, year by year, month by month, however you may call it, right? But we have to discover who we are in life in order to understand our true purpose in life, right? And your true self is a part of you that's a constant, right? It is constantly who you are, right? It is a part of your makeup. So, when we were younger and everything like that, we didn't know who we were. We didn't know what we liked. We didn't know what life was going to put on our plates in order for us to change directions, right? And sometimes we get thrown into certain situations of life that we just have to accept it, right? And you don't have to accept it, because you have to find out and know who you are in order to become the person you want to be, in order to be successful, fulfill your desires, fulfill your dreams, fulfill your purpose, fulfill your calling in life, right? As kids, you hear a lot of children, when you ask them, what do you want to be in life? They oftentimes they say, I want to be a fireman. I want to be a policeman. I want to be a doctor and things like that. I want to be a football player, basketball player. But the reality in turn is we really don't know who we are, right? So today, I just want to give you this great knowledge and information to find out who you are, right? This is the part of us that is that makes us unique, right? Knowing who we are, it makes us unique. It makes us separate from everybody else, right? Understanding who we are helps us to define the direction we're going to go in, right? Because I have to know myself more than anybody else. I have to know what I like, what I dislike, what I'll take, what I won't take, and that helps me down the road of life in order to propel myself to becoming a better person, right? Because that's what life is all about, becoming a better person in life. So that way we know which direction that we're going in life, right? Because if I know who I am, then I'm comfortable with where I'm at, right? Because I know that's a part of my makeup. That's a part of me. That's something that helps propel me to continue to move forward and learn myself, because that's what it's about. You have to learn yourself in this life, so that way when that time comes, nothing can distract you from whatever you're trying to go, the area you're trying to go in, the life you're trying to pursue, the dreams you're trying to build. Nothing can discourage you from that, because you know who you are, right? A lot of people at an early age, they do know who they are. They do know what they like. They do know what steps they're taking in life. They do know their path that they're going to go down in life, because they have an understanding of who they are. And oftentimes, some of us, we don't know that at an early age, right? But that's why we're here today at the Conversation Kingz and at LA Talk Radio, and we're having this discussion. We're having this talk of who are you? What is your makeup? What makes you you, right? What makes you unique, right? So it takes a lot. Sometimes it may be over the years that you find out, well, this didn't work out for me. That's not what I like. This didn't work out. That's not what I like. But once you find what you like that makes you who you are, then like I tell people, if you are going to a job or going to a business or you're an entrepreneur or anything of that nature, right? If you like what you do, you'll never have to work another day in your life because you understand that's who you are. That's something that you enjoy, and that's part of your makeup, right? See, we have to discover our true selves, right? That's beneath the surface of what the world can see, what people can see, right? So it's basically internal. Knowing who you are is internal. Knowing what your heart's desires are, right? That's part of your makeup. That's part of who you are in this life, right? So Debbie Ford says this, right? And this is a quote. Like I said, I love quotes. So this is a quote from Debbie Ford, and it says, self-awareness is the ability to take an honest look at your life without any attachment to it, being right or wrong, good or bad, right? It's all about self-awareness, right? If I'm going to know who I am, what's my makeup, then I have to be self-aware of who I am, right? I have to be self-conscious of who I am, right? That has to be the forefront of my makeup, right? Because who I am lets me know who am I going to sit around? Who am I going to be next to? Who are my connections, right? Because we're going to be on a like-mindedness, that connection, that continuity connection is going to be together because I'm self-aware of who I am, and I know the people that I'm going to be around that's going to help build me and help push me towards living and fulfilling the dreams that I pursue in life, right? So we have to discover our true selves in that nature of knowing who we are in this life, right? And along the way, you're definitely going to come across different things that's going to try to deter you from becoming who you truly are and discovering your true self, right? It's going to be an unpleasant truth. It's going to hold secrets that's going to take you to a greater level. If you could unfold who you truly are, right, on the inside. When you understand who you truly are, you can gain control over yourself, right? That's part of the basics, right? If you understand who you are, what you like, what you don't like, then you are actually gaining control over yourself. It's self-control, right? And that's a part of my self-awareness, is understanding the control over my life, right? Like, I have my own mind. I have my own thoughts. I have my own likes, my own dislikes, my own perception of life that nobody can deter me from, right? Nobody can take me off the path that I'm trying to go down. And that's what knowing who you are is all about, right? And you avoid your weaknesses and common pitfalls, right? You'll understand your strengths and your weaknesses when you know who you are. You'll understand what area am I strong in life, and let me continue to build upon that strength, right? You'll understand your weaknesses in life. Let me correct these weaknesses. Let me build these weaknesses up. And over a period of time, those weaknesses will turn into your strengths, right? But it's nothing wrong with having weaknesses, right? Or being vulnerable in life. But you definitely will understand your strengths and your weaknesses in the areas of where you need to build and the areas where you need to continue to build in order to find out who you are in life, right? You'll understand and deal with your negative habits, right? When you know who you are, you'll know what is your negative habit. What habit do I have that needs correction in my life in order for me to continue to build and continue to move forward in my life, right? You'll understand your positive habits, your negative habits that slow you down, that has you at a contentment to say, okay, this is what it is, right? But this is a negative habit, and you have to get rid of those negative habits if you're going to strengthen the person that you want to become, right? So negative habits can be a part of that weakness, right? But it all falls under the umbrella of self-awareness, of knowing who you are, right? Discovering your true self is a part of this umbrella of self-awareness, right? You'll have healthier relationships, because if I know who I am, I know what type of relationships I'm going to have with people, right? It'll be a healthier relationship with people because I'm not looking for anything, because I have everything I need, right? Whatever somebody brings into the relationship is just extra into that relationship. But self-awareness lets me know that I can have a healthier relationship due to the fact that I know who I am. I know what I bring to the table, right? I am the table, so I know what I bring to the table. So therefore, you'll have a healthier relationship with people, and you'll be able to communicate. You'll be able to connect more. You'll be able to sit in rooms that you didn't think you'll be able to sit in because you know exactly who you are, right? You'll choose a life path that suits you, right? You'll choose the direction of your life that suits you, not what everybody else says you should be or who you should be, because that's not who you are. So you have to be truly yourself, right? And I hear a lot of people saying, I keep it 100, I'm standing on business. But do they know who they are, right? Do they know their life path? Do they know what they're actually supposed to be doing, right? Those are just words to me when you say, I keep it 100. What is 100? Who are you? You know, sometimes we have to unveil ourselves to ourselves in order to become a better self or better version of who I am, right? We'll find enthusiasm and happiness. Me knowing me having a relationship with myself is the enthusiasm, right? And like I stated before, nobody can bring you happiness but you. And knowing who you are and knowing what you like, knowing what helps push you to greater paths in life, what pushes you to greater levels in life, that will bring you happiness, right? And when, like I said, if you have goals and you have dreams and you have desires that you have set for yourself, then it makes it easier for you to be happier in life, right? Because in certain points of our lives, we do suffer from a mistaken identity, right? Because we don't know ourselves. So it's like we're trying to find ourselves, and I don't know who I am in this area. I don't know what I should be doing over in this area. Who am I, right? I'm suffering from mistaken identity because I don't really truly know myself. And that's where we get lost at, right? That's why we have to discover our true selves, discover our true purpose, and discover who we truly are in life. So that way we don't have mistaken identity, right? I know exactly who I am. I know exactly what pushes me. I know exactly what helps propel me to the next level in life. What pushes me to that success level that I'm trying to reach is because I don't suffer from mistaken identity. I know exactly who I am and the direction that I'm going in. And that's what discovering your true self and being self-aware is all about. So you'll know who you are in this life, right? So we need to just have a constant thought process and let it be on our mind that every day we wake up, we're going to try to find out something new about ourselves. Find out what's new that I like, right? Bring new things into our lives that's a part of who I am. You know, we have to adventure out in life so that way we don't get caught up in the I don't know me, right? It's a me versus me, a me who I am. I have to know who I am in order to continue to grow. That's basically what I'm saying. This is the Conversation Kingz. I'm your host, Dominic Emerson, here on LA Talk Radio. And as always, like, follow, subscribe to the channel at LA Talk Radio on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. And today I'm talking about discovering who you are and asking the question, who are you? And only you can answer that question, because I know who I am and you have to know who you are in order to push to the next level, to be successful and reach your dreams, desires, and goals in this life, right? You have to set big goals that are meaningful to you, right? Knowing who you are, you have to set big goals that are meaningful to you. What are your goals? What are your big goals? What are your long-term goals? What do you see yourself doing future-wise down the road, right? I always say that you set short-term goals, those are the immediate goals that you're trying to reach. But what are your big goals? Are you trying to become an entrepreneur? Are you trying to open up a business? Are you trying to finish up and get your PhD? What are your big goals, right? That will in turn be a part of your self-awareness and your self-growth, a part of your self-mastery in order to know who you are, right? We have to utilize, like I said, we have to utilize our strengths and our weaknesses, right? And sometimes we have to avoid our weaknesses, right? Because I know some weaknesses may have traps, right? That could have us take a step back in life. And we're trying to go forward. We're trying to push forward, right? We're trying to push towards the mark of the high calling, right? In order to reach our end goal in life, right? So we have to know what our strengths and our weaknesses and how to utilize them, right? We have to find out how we deal with stress in a productive manner, right? Because knowing who you are, sometimes you're going to get into stressful situations. But how do I deal with it in order to be productive, right? Does stress help push me, or does stress pull me back? Does stress irritate me to where I can't focus and I can't think and I can't, maintain my rightful mind in order to have a productive day or have something be productive that I'm trying to build, trying to create? How do we deal with stress in knowing who we are, right? Because for the most part, most of the day, sometimes, not as much as possible, but the day can be stressful. So how do I deal with it, right? And that's what we're going to learn, and we're going to bring out how to deal with those stressfulness, right? We have to know how to motivate ourselves, right? I have to be my biggest motivator. You have to be your biggest motivator. Sometimes you have to be your greatest cheerleader, right? You have to pat yourself on the back. You have to validate yourself. You have to encourage yourself in order to move on, right? And that's a part of understanding and knowing who you are. Understanding your self-awareness, your self-mastery is, how do I motivate myself? You have to know how to motivate yourself, right? And that's what basically I'm giving here is some great information and knowledge on how to motivate yourself if you're going to know who you are, if you're going to be productive in life, right? If you want greater and you want more, then you have to motivate yourself. Sometimes you're not going to hear somebody, or you're not going to have anybody that's going to say, get up, or hold you accountable, or motivate you, or be that mentor that's going to push you on, right? But here at the Conversation Kingz, we want to be a part of that mentorship, that we help motivate you, to push you to get up, to go do more, go be greater than you are yesterday, than you was yesterday, and be greater today. For tomorrow, it'll be even broader with the greatness in your life, right? So you have to know what motivates you, right? What motivates you to get up? What motivates you to be you? And you have to overcome fear. You have to overcome fear. If I'm going to know who I am and what I like, what I dislike, and what helps me to be successful, I have to overcome fear. And oftentimes we have a fear of failure. And I tell a lot of people this, right? I don't mind failing. I don't mind failing, because if it's helping me to learn, then okay, I have to be okay with failure, right? Because that comes with life. That comes with learning who you are. Failure is going to be a part of life. But how do I deal with failure? Does failure stress me out to where I can't be productive? But I take the failure as learning lessons, right? It doesn't bother me if I fail 9 times out of 10. I only count that 10th time where I was successful. Those other 9 times were building blocks in order for me to get to where I need to be in life, right? And you have to look at those things as that, right? You have to persevere. You have to keep pushing. You have to keep striving. You have to keep moving forward. You have to persevere no matter what it may look like, no matter what the outcome is, right? You have to persevere. When we get into situations where it looks like we're going to fail, just keep pushing. Just keep moving. As long as you're moving and you're not standing still, then you can persevere, right? If it's about your dreams and it's about your individuality of being successful, if it's about reaching your goals, the big goals, if it's about your dreams, your desires, you have to persevere in this life. if you intend on being successful, understanding who you are, having a greater self-awareness, understanding your self-mastery and learning yourself a whole lot better, right? You have to persevere in this life, right? And somewhere along the way, we've allowed ourselves to believe that we're incapable than what we really are, right? We have self-doubt, and we have to take away that self-doubt. Stop being so hard on yourself when learning who you are comes into play. When learning your self-awareness or things don't go the way you think it should go. Stop being so hard on yourself, right? These are things in life that are going to help you if you look at it a different way, right? Because perception is a lot. It means a lot, right? How do I perceive things that don't look like it should be? But if I perceive it to be as, okay, it looks like it's going to fail. But if I perceive it as, this is a lesson, what am I grabbing? What am I taking from that in order for me to put into my bag? So when the next time that comes, my perception is, nah, it's not going to fail in that area because I know where I'm coming from. And let me use it to strengthen me, right? To push me. That's what we have to get into. That's a part of our knowing who we are and our self-knowledge and finding out who we are for greater success in life, right? Because everybody, like I say, everybody wants to be successful, but you have to know who you are in order to be successful. Most businessmen or businesswomen, they know who they are going into creating that business. And they have found that early on in life, right? And yes, they have failed, but yet they did not give up trying to succeed, right? Because if you're running this race, if I stop in the middle of the race, I've already given up. I've already thrown in a towel per se. But we can't do that in life if we're trying to be successful, if we're trying to have a greater self-knowledge of ourselves in order to move forward in life, right? We have to keep going because life is a constant, right? We have to discover ourselves, right? Discover your true self. Understand your strengths, your weaknesses, your values, preferences. These all give clues to help us find out our true self. Who are you really, right? Who are you really? All of these things will help you find out who you are really, right? And you have to understand that in life, there's going to be repetitive or you're going to repeat mistakes, right? You're going to repeat mistakes. Our repeated mistakes are harder to see than we might think. We might not see them because I don't want to see the mistakes that I keep making, but I keep running into that brick wall. After a while, that's going to hurt. And I'm going to say, wait a minute. I keep making this same mistake. This is why I can't get over that hurdle in order to be successful in life, right? So we have to stop repeating the mistakes that we're making if we're going to understand who we are, to have a greater self-knowledge, of self-awareness, to self-mastery, to achieve my goals, my desires, and my dreams in this life, right? And that's what it's all about. And see, these things are mistakes. They limit our potential and make success harder than it is to be. Our mistakes limit our potential because oftentimes those mistakes, they'll hinder us. They'll become an obstacle. They'll become a stumbling block, and they can hinder our potential if we stay there. If I stay down in it, then that hinders my potential from growing, right? If I plant a flower and I don't water it, I don't nourish it, and I always constantly throw dirt upon it, eventually it'll hinder it from its growth, from its natural growth. But if I continue to water it, continue to toil the soil, then eventually that flower will blossom. That flower will grow to its full potential. That's what we have to do in life, right? We have to clear out the area, see the potential that is possible for our growth. Plant the flower right there. Plant our success there. Plant our growth there. Plant our self-awareness there. Plant our self-knowledge there. Plant our reason of being who we are right there, and continue to water it and continue to watch the potential of it grow, right? And then I have to be an avid reader. an avid learner, somebody that's going to take in knowledge and information and continue to use it for my potential of the growth of understanding of who I am in this life, right? Because that's the question. Who are you? What makes you you? What makes you unique, right? And in order to reach your full potential, you have to clear out all the dirt that's around it that's not going to help you grow. That's not going to help you blossom. That's not going to help you bloom in your season, right? Because life is about seasons. So when that season comes, you want to be already out there toiling the soil, getting all the ground ready. So when it's time for you to blossom and bloom, there's no restrictions, right? There's no restrictions on your growth, no restrictions on your potential, no restrictions on the possibilities of what could be for you in this life, right? This is the Conversation Kingz, and I'm your host, Dominic Emerson, here on LA Talk Radio. And this is a beautiful thing because we're unveiling who you are today. Talking about discovering your true self, discovering your true reason of why you are who you are, right? And you're going to have to deal with the discomfort in life. You're going to have to deal with being uncomfortable in situations that eventually will help you become comfortable, right? How do I deal with discomfort? I said it earlier. How do you deal with stress? How do you deal with discomfort, right? But there's a way you can deal with it, right? How we handle discomfort has a huge effect on success. Our negative habits are the results of dealing with discomfort poorly, right? If I deal with it poorly, then I'm going to get a poor result. That's the mathematics of it. If I deal with it discomfort poorly, I'm going to get a poor result. But if I deal with it in a proper way, then I'm going to be successful in it, right? Discomfort can work for you or against you, right? It can help me or it can hinder me. It can push me or it can pull me. It's just depending on how you deal with discomfort in your life, right? So that plays a big part in our self-knowledge, our self-mastery, our self-understanding, our self-learning, and understanding who we are in this life, right? Understanding our potential, understanding our growth, understanding the areas that we're trying to grow in, the areas that we're trying to improve ourselves in life in order to be better, in order to be successful, in order to create the environment that we can grow in. This is a part of it, right? Understanding these things will help us be better off in life, right? And like I always say, our habits are things that help us or hinder us also, right? But if I create good habits and I constantly go over these habits day by day and learning new habits that help me more than they hurt me, then this propels me to understanding who I am, right? I have a greater sense of who I am in life, right? And habits, these things we do each day add up over the years to create our future. How are your habits, right? What are your habits? What are your good habits, right? What are those habits that are helping you to be a better person? What are those habits that are helping you create the life that you see yourself having? What are those habits that are helping you open doors that you thought would be closed on you, right? What are those habits that are helping you to change your life and change the lives of the others that are around you, right? What are your good habits? Now, we all have like bad habits, things that we fall back to when we feel like it's not going the way it should go, right? But those bad habits are the habits that we have to take away from our life in order for us to continue to move forward, right? Like I had to get rid of a lot of habits in order for me to even come to this point to help encourage or help inspire or help motivate somebody else. I had to knock off a lot of habits and I had to learn these things, right? They didn't just come overnight, but these are things that help us to grow to be better people and have a better effect on my life for my success, right? And it'll do the same thing for you if we understand how to knock off those bad habits, right? What habits hinder us from reaching our full potential, right? Good habits guarantee success. I'll say that again. Good habits guarantee success, right? If I have a good habit, then those habits guarantee success, right? I was reading this thing and it was talking about a Navy officer. And this naval officer was basically saying, in order for him to continue to have good habits, he had to start out with the small habits, right? So he started out early in the morning, waking up early in the morning. So he woke up at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, right? And the first thing he did to start his habits, his good habits about his day, was he made his bed up, right? A lot of people, we don't make our beds up in the morning when we first get up in the morning, right? And that was one of my bad habits, right? So we have to get up and we have to start with the small good habits in order to lead to the bigger good habits that guarantees our success in life, right? So we want to knock out all of those bad habits, right? Because poor habits guarantee our failure, right? If I continue to drink, if I continue to smoke, if I continue to go into the areas or the environments that's not going to help me grow, then those are going to guarantee my failure in life, right? And I don't think nobody wants to be a constant failure in life. Everybody wants a piece of success. And success is defined by the individual, right? Not by the crowd, because my success is defined by me, right? How you may look at my success is totally different, but I'm grateful for the success that I'm at right now, right? And those are because of the good habits that I've been learning and relearning and adding on to my life, right? Those bad habits are the habits that I know would have guaranteed my failure had I continued down that road. So you want to continue to pour good habits into your life so that way you can see them, right? And I always talk about writing your goals, right? Write your goals, write your plans, write these things down. They can help you understand who you are, for your self-knowledge and your self-awareness. And we have to write down goals, right? And I also talk about, and I tell people that I do mentor, have a journal. Start journaling. Start writing these things down. Start writing down on one side your good habits, right, that you want to continue to grow on. Those bad habits that you want to take away and remove from your life. Start journaling. And there's nothing wrong with men having a journal. There's nothing wrong with men having a journal, right? I have several that are around me right now that I've written in, because this helps me focus on myself. This helps me continue to learn myself, right? This helps me continue to know who I am because I journal, because I write these things down, right? Even if it's a little tidbit of a paragraph or sentence here or there, I'm okay. I write that down in my journal, right? Because journaling records your life, right? It may not be a whole book, but it can record certain aspects of your life that you can look upon and say, okay, I need to improve in this area. Okay, I've done this in this area that helps me grow so that way I can be better in this area, right? It helps you record your thoughts, right? Your activities. It can provide insight into areas that you thought you were lacking in, right? It just, in basic, it helps us to grow, right? There's nothing wrong with journaling. It helps us to grow, right? And we want to continue to grow in life in order to be better, right? Journaling is a powerful tool. Journaling is a powerful tool that we need to add to our arsenal of life every day if we're going to understand who we are in this life, right? And like I said, understanding who you are in this life is going to take you through some ups and some downs, but you constantly have to keep pushing and persevere and be persistent so you can be productive in your life, right? And you're going to deal with trauma. There's going to be trauma in shedding off the old you and becoming the new you. There's going to be a lot of discomfort in shedding off the old you and becoming the new you, right? There's going to be some pain when shedding the old you and becoming the new you, right? There's going to be some times where you want to revert back to the old you because there's a struggle becoming the new you. But if I want to learn who I am, then I'm going to have to go through all of these things. So there's going to be some trauma. There's going to be some doubt. There's going to be some days where you're angry with yourself and don't know why. And the reason why is because you're actually becoming a new person. You're learning your new self. You're going to be able to see your new self. It's going to be a new light that's going to be shined upon you from inwardly to outwardly, right? But you're going to have to go through some trauma, right? Our worst experiences can shape our thoughts and behaviors for the rest of our lives. If we let it, it can shape us for the rest of our lives, right? I am this way because I went through trauma at this age, right? I am this way because this happened to me in life and I didn't recover from it. But you always can come back and you always can recover the life that you want if you're getting to that point in life where you're opening up and you're releasing those old habits, that old trauma that held you down, that weighed you down, that was a dark cloud over you in life. You can overcome that trauma, but it takes you to do that, right? That's why the question is asked, who are you, right? You have to acknowledge that trauma that you've gone through in life. Acknowledge those things that hurt you in life if you're going to become the new version of yourself in this life, right? And there's so much that we can use in life in order for us to continue to go forward, right? A quote by Meg Rosoff says, self-knowledge is essential, not only to writing, but to doing almost anything really well. It allows you to work through from a deep place, from the deep, dark corners of your subconscious mind, right? We have to dig into our subconscious. That's where we're going to release that trauma, release that anger, release that what I used to be. You know, I tell people I love when I hear a conversation and I'm talking to somebody that I know from the past and they always come up with that. I remember when you used to do this. I remember when you used to do that. I remember we used to go out and do these type of things, right? But that's the old me. I discovered who I am and I discovered my purpose and I discovered why I'm on this rock for this time. So of course, I had to go through those pains. But I love the fact that that person said used to, right? Because now I'm new. I'm walking in newness. And this is a part of understanding who I am and understanding who you are, right? You're going to have a lot of used tos because you don't do the same things you used to do, right? When I was a child, I thought as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things, right? You got to put away those childish things in order to fulfill your purpose in life, in order to become who you were created to be, right? In order for your life to be exactly the way it should be, you're going to have to get rid of a lot of things. And you're going to have to get rid of a lot of used tos in life in order to be better today, right? And we're going to have to start looking at ourselves, right? Looking internally at ourselves, right? And like I said, there's nothing wrong with applauding yourself, nothing wrong with patting yourself on the back, nothing wrong with any of those things in this life, right? And then we're going to have to look at, what do I value in life, right? What do I value in life? What are my greatest values? What do I hold near and dear to myself that has a value in it, right? So what are your values? If you think for more than seconds, then you don't understand your true value in life. You don't understand the great possessions that you have for life, right? So understanding your values also helps you to understand how successful you'll be, right? It'll help you determine which way you're going if you understand your values, right? We used to have a thing in life, and I don't know where it went in today's society, where we had morals, values, right? We have to get back to understanding our morals and our values that are most important to us as people, right? That helps propel us to the next level of success in life, right? See, in understanding our values, we have to make a list of every positive value we can think of. Make a list of every positive value you can think of. That's important to you, right? In this life. This isn't about what others value. It's about, what do you value in life, right? What do you think are positive values or qualities that you can have as a person, right? Because you want to see those type of people in your life. So you want to have those values in life, right? So you definitely want to have a list of these things in life in order for you to continue to be greater in this life, right? A quote by Kenny Loggins says, whatever I have not yet learned to tolerate in myself inevitably will appear in my children. In this way, they, like Julia, guide me to a new level of self-awareness and everyone's benefit, right? So I have to be aware of what I'm learning in this life for my values, right? And it's all about self-awareness. It's all about self-knowledge and self-mastery and finding greater success for yourself and understanding who you are, right? And like I said, you gotta go through the strengths and weaknesses of life. You gotta understand these things that'll help you to know who you are, right? Because my father's strengths and weaknesses are not mine. My mother's strengths and weaknesses are not mine, because as an individual, I have to know who I am and what I like and what I dislike, and what helps me, what motivates me to go. Because something has to motivate me as an individual to go. Something has to motivate you as an individual to go, right? And so that's why the question is asked, who are you, right? This is the Conversation Kingz. I am your host, Dominic Emerson, here on LA Talk Radio. And as always, like, follow, subscribe on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn, right? So you can get great and valuable information like this, and this will help you in understanding your self-mastery, self-awareness, and self-value of who you are in this life. That'll push you to find greater success for you as an individual, right? But you have to know your strengths and your weaknesses. You have to know what makes you comfortable and what brings you discomfort in life. You have to understand what pushes you and what pulls you in life in order to be better today than you were yesterday, right? Quote by Alfred Lord Tennyson: self-reverence, self-knowledge, self-control. These three alone lead one to sovereign power, right? If I understand these things about myself, then I'm powerful within myself, right? That's basically what the quote is saying. If I understand all three of these things, then I'm powerful within myself, and I have a powerful knowledge of myself, and I have a powerful self-awareness of myself, which helps me with my mindful thoughtfulness of my self-knowledge, right? My self-understanding. These things are very valuable because it plays a part in bringing power to my mind, body, and my soul, right? Because I'm connected and I'm lined up as one, as an individual with myself. So whatever else is around me, whatever else is going on around me does not bother me as an individual, because I have self-awareness, self-reverence, and self-control that's lined up in an alignment with my mind, body, and soul, and I understand who I am, right? So this is where we have to continue to build, continue to learn, continue to grow in these areas in order for us to be better as individuals, to have greater success as individuals, right? To be mindful of these things as individuals, right? Your true self is that part of you that is a constant, right? From situation to situation, right? One situation may be different from the next situation, but definitely your true self will have to adapt from situation to situation. But if you're a constant and you know who you are, you're the same in this situation as the next situation, right? Whatever the situation may be, you are who you are, and you will not change, or you have not changed from situation to situation, right? Because whatever is a discomfort in this situation will not change you, right? It'll only propel you to the next situation, and that situation will only propel you to the next situation, right? Wherever you may be leading or wherever you may be going in life, these things will help you to grow, right? But your true self has to be a constant. You have to be constantly who you are day in and day out, and have an understanding of why I am who I am. But me being me has to be constantly me, right? I can't be nobody else. You can't be anybody else, right? You may see people who imitate other people, right? But that's not who they truly are, right? You don't want to be an imitation, right? You want to be an individual You want to be somebody that's who you are, that's not an imitation, that's not made up, that's not a false reality, right? You want to be yourself. You don't want to be duplicated. You don't want to be a duplication of somebody else or what they're doing, right? You want to be an individual. That's why you have to know who you are. You have to be self-aware of yourself, right? And that comes into self-mastery. That comes into self-knowledge. When you're understanding who you are, you do not want to be an imitation. You know, you can take bits and pieces that help enhance who you are, but you don't want to be an imitation of somebody else. You don't want to be a knockoff, as they say, right? You want to be as pure and as constant of who you are as an individual as you can be, right? And that's a true understanding of who you are. Like I always say, you know, this life isn't complicated. It's what we make it to be, right? And it's never personal. It's always business, right? So be in the business of knowing who you are, knowing that you are created as an individual, knowing that you have self-knowledge and self-awareness for your self-mastery, so that way you can find greater success. This is the Conversation Kings. I'm your host, Dominic Emerson, here on LA Talk Radio. And as always, like, follow, subscribe at LA Talk Radio on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook, and you'll find great information like this when you pull it up and when you search, right? Because that's what we're here for. We're here to help propel you to the next greater of who you are in this life, right? This is the Conversation Kings, and I'm gone.
You're listening to Conversation Kings with Dominic Emerson, only on LA Talk Radio.